so, oh, I was in
The aid station.
Canfield Hospital for, I think, 3 days, and then we flew me to Italy.
To Naples.
Naples.
Yeah.
And I was there, and this young guy on crutches come back here, and he said, what company is he in? I said, B company. He said, so am I.
Yeah.
And he said, what? Battalion, 1st Battalion. Yeah. He said, so am I. 7th Regiment. He said, so am I. He kept saying that. I said, finally I said, no, I never seen you before in my life. He says, when the guys come back from the hospital and a bunch of replacements, I was one of them. I was in that bomb shelter. Now that's the only reason I know it was a bomb shelter. He said, I was in there looking out of that thing and seen you get hit.
Wow.
And he said, I seen you crawl around the building, and a bunch of guys come around and pick them up. He said, they just got around that building. If you'd have stayed there, you'd have all been dead.
Really? Oh. Another shell hit there?
Yeah, just about where I was sitting.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so, but you see, I was raised during the Depression.
Yeah.
On a farm. This used to be a farm.
Okay.
And I was used to hard work, and you took, something happened, you didn't panic or nothing, you just made the best of it, and so on, and that's what I would always do.
Yeah.
And I loved people, and Wheeler and them guys, I wanted to do whatever I could for them.
Sure. I'm glad they got him out of there before that other.
Yeah.
Now, how did that guy lose his leg?
No, he didn't.
Oh, he broke his leg.
He only had a chunk of shrapnel in it. Back of it, and he's on crutches.
Oh.
And he said, I was in that
bomb shelter.
And he said, after it was all over and seen it, and he told me all about it, so I know it's the truth.
Yeah.
And he said it was all over for quite a bit.
Yeah.
And he come out, and he said, one shell landed quite a ways off, and that little piece in his thing.
Got him.
Yeah.
Just hit him. Wow. Well, that's an amazing story. I mean, I can't believe he crawled around that building. I mean, with one leg.
Well, it was shot off through the knee.
Yeah.
And I'm no doctor or nothing like it.
Yeah.
But like I said, everything was cinders. And when I crawled out there, I walked on this knee and on this stump.
Yeah.
And I think that might have saved my life because I packed cinders and everything else into that.
Oh, into the wound.
So you don't never know.
Yeah. Even though you don't want, I mean,
it didn't hurt because it's numb yet.
Yeah.
Well, you can imagine that big chunk of shrapnel hit. Yeah. And it's almost.
It's hotter
than a firecracker. And
cauterized it.
It's here to a degree. And,
yeah. So they took you to that to the aid station, and then there was that Valente, Isidore Valente, and then there was the captain.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think they said it was slide deck or something, but like I say, you wouldn't know the captain's name, you know, going in there.
Well, when he said, the doctor said, pick it up. So Valente picks it up, and the doctor snipped it off.
Yeah.
And he's standing there with it, and he said, well, I'll do it. He said, take it out in the backyard and bury it. So I got 1 foot in France.
Yeah, he still got 1 foot in France.
So then when he come back in, I didn't think the doctor could hear him, but I could hear. And when Glenn came, he said, "You'll never make it."
Oh.
And you know why you make it? I never panicked.
Yeah.
I just, whatever you have to do, I'll do, but I ain't gonna. Yeah. And people get bad accidents in the car, and they panic, and your heart goes crazy, and.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then. Yep. Like you say, I mean, they probably gave you some plasma or something, and.
Well, they didn't mean nothing there, huh?
Oh.
They
sent you to like a field hospital or something.
Yeah. Well, that was the day station. Then I went to it was a MASH
MASH unit, yeah.
And didn't see Klinger though. But,
Yeah. In a
That's his-
dress.
Yeah, that's his favorite program. He
That's
wa-
one of my favorite shows.
to know people, and I've said a lot of people this, and I've told a lot of nurses and doctors too.
Yeah.
The people that was in the war that didn't take any credit where they should have
Yeah.
was Army nurses living in the mud and hey, and they took care of you just like you're a baby. Yeah.
Mm.
But you never hear them.
No, I read a book one time by one of the ladies. I can't remember her name offhand, but she wrote a lot of books after the war, you know. So she was a nurse there, and actually, a lady I work with, her father-in-law, he was a surgeon attached to the 7th Regiment, but back at that hospital.
Yeah.
And she gave me a whole box full of pictures. Someday I'll come back and I'll show you. He's got all these pictures of the hospital and the ambulances and and he was at ANZO too, that surgeon, and they had these huge white crosses on the tent. And he took pictures of it,
Oh,
but they
yeah.
said that they would shell them anyway. They killed some nurses and doctors and
Yeah.
plenty of patients there at ANZO.
Well, it's the hospital tents that had red crosses on top,
Yeah.
and the Germans had small bombs, and they in the Star Fighter telling, but the Germans didn't die, but they forgot to tell you that they had artillery guns all around that hospital. Well, you can't blame the Germans for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, a lot of people, the Germans, as a rule, are nice people. They're
Yeah.
good people.
Yeah.
Most of them bull-headed like I am.
Yeah.
I'm a Holland Dutch. That's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's why, you know, Lamar, you know, he told me about a lot of the guys that he had fought with and a lot of the guys who had died, they were friends of his, you know. And I mean, like I say, I knew him for 8 years and we were like best buddies, you know. But one thing he would never tell me about was anybody he ever killed, and I didn't ask him because he wasn't proud of that.
no.
I mean, I know he did do it, but he never talked about it,
Well,
and I never asked him.
When I hunted rabbits from the time I was 8 years old.
Oh, I love to hunt rabbits. I hunted rabbits too.
And I was a good shot. My dad bought me a .22 when I was 12 years old, and I could shoot a rabbit on the run.
Yeah.
And contrary to what the manual says, when you're in combat, you don't stop and take an aim-based shot. You do, you're a dead duck.
Mhm.
You fire for the hip.
Yeah.
And when we'd be going in there, I never killed a German. I'd shoot him in the shoulder or in the leg.
Yeah.
wounded.
I didn't want to kill anybody.
Yeah.
You know why? I'd see a dead American or German, it don't matter. I'd always feel bad. Not before him because he ain't hurting.
Yeah.
But some of them, they'd go through their wallets. Here's a guy with his arm around his wife, maybe holding a kid, a little baby.
Yeah. They were
They're
people.
the ones that paid for the war.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Germans weren't like the Japanese. You know, the
No,
Japanese were just vicious
They're
people.
crazy.
Yeah, killing everybody. I mean, you got captured by the Japanese, you were gonna die. You know, but the Germans weren't like that.
Right.
They weren't mean and
Yeah.
you know, Lamar said that there was even a town they went into when they got to Germany that there was a guy in the company. His grandmother still lived there, and he had cousins, and he actually went and ate dinner at one of their houses one night, and they said, "Hey, quit fraternizing with the enemy." You know, he's like, "Well, this is my grandmother, and this is my cousin."
Yeah.
And so they let him eat dinner there one night, you know. So, I mean, they were almost like brother fighting brother,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Civil War,
Yeah.
in a way.
Well, that, like Stein I was telling you about,
Yeah,
he
Stein.
had relatives in Germany.
Yeah.
And all he talked about is getting to get Germany for his aunts and uncles or whoever.
Find them. Yeah, maybe.
And before, just a few days before the war was over, a sniper he was a company runner. That sniper shot him right through the head.
Oh, Stein got killed. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like Lamar's cousin, he died on April 30th, 1945, same day that Hitler, I think, killed himself. And a sniper shot him on the war only ended a few days after that. And the poor guy got killed just before, you know. But, yeah, I mean, that one thing Lamar taught me was, he goes, it didn't matter how good you were. It just mattered where you was standing and how lucky you were. Because you could be standing here and another fellow be standing over there and he'd get killed and you didn't.
Well,
You know?
see, when I was in Fort McClellan,
Yeah.
some of these guys just got out of high school, they'd have a talk or whatever, in the bleachers out there. They'd have their sunglasses on, trying to sleep and everything.
Yeah.
Hey, I paid attention to everything.
Yeah.
And well, when I hit Anzio, the first thing they made me a first scout,
Yeah.
and they were walking along. Not me. I was like
Hiding in the brush or behind a
moving
tree
out,
or something.
moving
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
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 I said, well, if a crowd gets me, he's going to have to work for it.
Yeah. Lamar told me he was a replacement at Anzio too, but it was after they had already made the breakout, got off the beach, and they were heading for Rome, and he said that they went by a large group of Army Rangers that were all wiped out.
The Fifth Rangers.
Fifth Ranger. He said they were walking over their bodies; they were still there, and he goes, there was like a whole regiment of them.
Well, no, I'll tell you. Now this is in the first place. That Fifth Rangers was a brand new outfit. They had never seen combat or nothing.
Yeah.
Why didn't they take guys out of the infantry around there
Yeah.
and make them sergeants and stuff to take care? They
Yeah.
sent them down. It was just on Anzio a short time. They went through there and they didn't know nothing. There was I think they said the battalion of 800 some
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And when the only 8 of them come back, and they was all wounded.
Good Lord. Yeah, I remember they went down through a valley or something. The Germans was all around them up high,
Yeah.
and just picked them off like nothing.
Yeah. And the non-com didn't know how to take care of the boys. They was lost as everybody.
They was fresh. They didn't know nothing about combat.
No.
Well, that's he was always, that was his first, because that was the first thing they run across. He said when he was going in as a replacement, and he goes, we come across this whole area just nothing but dead Rangers, and he didn't know who they were, so he asked the guy in front of him. He said, who are these people? And he goes, well, this is a Ranger battalion got wiped out of here.
Yeah.
And he goes,
Well, if you got an Anzio, they got graveyards there. You can't
just rows and rows.
Well, some of the historians or whatever,
Yeah.
they claimed that the 4 months on the Anzio was the 4 bloodiest months of the year.
Yeah, I believe it because I've talked to other guys that were there, and they said you poked your head out of the ground in daylight, a shell was coming. They said I only moved at night, and because like you say, the Germans were way up high above you, they could see everything
in the
going
mountains,
on
and we was on.
on the flat, and
Pick you right off.
yeah,
Yeah, well, we was trained to be offensive,
yeah,
moving on. And here we're laying in the mud,
yeah,
cold, rainy, no raincoats, and oh man.
yeah,
And I'm laying there, and I said to myself, Eisenhower couldn't be my platoon sergeant. What are we laying here in the mud for? We're
Yeah.
supposed to be safe.
yeah, attack or something.
And in the morning, I didn't know we were watching that, but I'd say 9, 10 or 10:30 or like that. You could hear them over the graveyard playing the taps.
Oh,